guys, I just realised I better do a video before I fall asleep, hadn't I? I nearly forgot. I was just laid there stretching my neck and I'm cracking out like the very, very top bits, and what I do is I lie down my head on the pillow and just sort of really stretch it upwards, so like how a physio would pull on it or a chiropractor would. And I've had the raspberry one of these, not not the bubblegum one, the raspberry one. And I don't know why, but I've got real giggly. I've got real giggly tonight. And yeah, but I'm ready for bed. I'm really ready for bed. What time is it? Oh my god, it's only just gone 9. I think I better have a bath and hope I don't fall asleep in it. And I would have some coffee, but even if there is some coffee in there, it's CBD coffee, so which is basically the hemp shake that I've got. I put in with my cafetiere with coffee. So if anybody wants to try that, I call it hempity coffee. Oh yeah, hempity coffee. Hempity coffee. Hempity coffee. Hempity coffee. Yeah. No. Hemp coffee. Yeah. I think that, I don't know, something along those lines. But anyway, so I'm thinking I can either sell the coffee and the flour, the shake, or I could sell just the shake, or I could sell it with a cafetiere, as my friends recommended. You can get them cheap on Temu and sell it as a first, and then like refill sets. So I don't know. I'm sort of thinking about it, but it's a lot of expense to start with. So unless of course Exhale coffee company happen to see any of my videos and fancy going into business, because your coffee is lovely, and I have been having it with some CBD and it goes perfectly. It goes better than the Aldi stuff anyway. But I suppose that's not hard, is it? But it make the perfect blend, health coffee, for a health, wellness supplements, whatever it is, food, novel food. Oh God, I'm still going to be so careful what you call it. Yeah, hemp tea, coffee, So I don't know, Exhale, fancy it? Anybody of my friends fancy asking Exhale if you fancy it? And yeah, you'll just have to sort of lay me on a few bags of coffee. And I'll have to source some cafetières from Temu. And excuse the fact that I'm absolutely battered. I don't do this very often, but I got some death bears from a friend, and yeah. I tell you what though, I'm not in any pain whatsoever, and like my neck, I think I've just finished cracking it out. It's only been what, 7 years in the making, because it started in 2018. Yeah, 2018, July 2018, I went to Green Pride with Master Stacey down there. Stay, babe, love you, mate. And yeah, I did reply to your message, but it didn't send for some reason. I sent a voice message and it didn't send. I have noticed, but I will get back to you, sorry. I have a bad habit of doing that. And I know you'll notice I'm doing that thing with my neck again. What it is it cracks like a little thing out in there, because I'm not that comfortable. So what was I saying? Yeah, so 2018 costed that. Then 20, well, that was shortly after being blue lighted to hospital because the pain was so bad. I mean, I was in a wheelchair back then because of the complex regional pain syndrome. And I hear a lot of people say to me, start to explain to them how I stopped the opiates, and how I was on this, that and the other, and I stopped them, and I did actually stop them overnight. It's probably not advisable, and my history with the opiates is a bit different to most, but I mean, I still was prescribed them at the age of 15, which is ridiculous, you know what I mean? Who prescribes a 15-year-old bloody codeine? I mean, it wasn't codeine, it was coproximal as well back then, and I was taking 8 a day, And then they changed it to tramadol, so I was just necking them like there was no tomorrow. Um, and then where was I? Yeah, so um, yeah, so I mean, I was in a wheelchair. I was heavily addicted to opiates. I'd been blue lighted to hospital because the pain was so bad. They couldn't get a line in me for the morphine, so they ended up just having to give me oral morphine, liquid, um, and they gave me a bottle and stuck me on a bus and sent me home. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Really? Um, so, yeah, that's when I arranged to go down to Green Pride. And I sort of, I was so angry because I'd read the Barnes report. I was so angry, I was fuming. So I was took to Twitter and I met a few people on Twitter. And that's, I think, how I met Stacey. And, you know, we met up down, I know, I look so tired. And yeah, we met up down at Brighton, and I had a space cake from Nanny's Edibles, and just called Nanny's now. And I actually met her at Product Earth a few years ago. It was amazing. I was on my roller skates, and the first time I had one of her cakes, she wasn't actually there. It must have been her relatives running the store or something. Um, and yeah, the first time I had one of her cakes, I was in a wheelchair, and I didn't need my morphine though. And for the next 3 days, I also didn't need the cocodamols that I had prescribed. And that's when I went to the doctor and asked him to change my Brutrans patch, which was basically a morphine patch. I asked him to change that for tablets. And he ummed and I'm like, you know, do it, please do it. And eventually gave in and changed it to codeine. And I saw some RSO, and I've got something in my eye. I saw some illegal RSO, and yeah, once I took the RSO, the pain went away, and then as soon as I took the codeine, the pain came back. So what do you do when you're like me? You stop taking the codeine. So I took the RSO and stopped taking the codeine, and yeah, I went through a bit of a withdrawal, but I just took lots and lots of cannabis. I bought liquid vapes illegally because obviously it wasn't on prescription back then. It was starting to come on prescription, but it was, you know, it was expensive, really expensive. I mean, you were talking like £700 an ounce, and I could buy it really cheap in bulk back then. Sorry, my eyes itching like hell. Um, so yeah, I was, do you know what I mean? Getting liquid vapes. I was buying RSO, tinctures, people were sending me stuff, friends were sending me stuff, you know, and 5 weeks of feeling a bit cold and feeling a bit shivery and not feeling quite right, and, you know, just not sleeping very well, 3 to 4 hours sleep a night. But I was angry, and I used that. I used that to take to Twitter, and I used that to try to make a difference. And I hope that some of the things I did make a difference. I mean, one of the things was that bloody Ainslinger Centre, whatever it's called. You know, the guy in America, the guy that fucking made it illegal and all that. Um, they wanted to call the Cannabis Research Centre, or the Centre for Medicinal Cannabis, they wanted to call that after him. And I was the first person to see the tweet. And I shared it into the WhatsApp group that I was in. And underneath it, I said, "Don't you know who he is?" And do you know what I mean? We all sort of massively attacked. And apparently it was Mike Barnes being ironic. Yeah, right. I don't know. He seems like a piss take, if you ask me, because it's still illegal, really. There's medicinal cannabis patients being arrested left, right, and centre. Then you've got some bollocks about CanCard saying that the police are allowed to give out free vapes that have got THC in to stop the smell. What the fuck? I can't get a free vape for the smell, so why should they? And then, like, how's that legal and all the rest of it? And it's like, oh, do you know, it's all just such bollocks. They're all after money. It's all grifting, isn't it? as people keep saying. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up because my eye's itching like a murphy and I've lost track of what I was saying, but I was sort of telling my story there a little bit. And yeah, I fell into the activism, but what I was trying to say was that I'm hearing a lot of stories from a lot of people that are just starting out and saying, oh, but my pain is so bad, and my pain is wet. I'm not saying that your pain isn't real, I'm not saying that your pain isn't bad, I'm not saying that your pain isn't awful, but what I'm saying is I have been there. I have been in that much pain, and I know exactly how you feel, and I have sat on the sofa unable to move and sat so tense and so knotted up because the pain's so bad. Not being able to stop crying because the pain's 24/7. If you don't believe me, Google CRPS, Complex Regional Pain Syndrome. If you don't believe me, give that a Google. That's the condition I was dealing with, and that was the latest one on the list of a long line. Do you know what I mean? So, um, anybody that's just started out and is saying that they can't do it, or that they're worried, or that they're gonna have to take it slow or whatever, um, just trust in the cannabis. Just trust in the fact that it works. Just trust in the fact that the opiates don't work. You become addicted to them. I was addicted to opiates. I was in a permanent state of withdrawal, my doctor finally told me. And it was a case of once I stopped taking them, the amount of pain I was in was less. And then I learned how to control my autoimmune as well. And then I learned how to control my neurological conditions to an extent, because it's psychosomatic, so it's only so much you can do. And do you know what I mean? There's a lot that's I've been able to work on, and it's all thanks to cannabis. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, just don't be defeatist, be positive, and just trust that it works. Trust that I'm not just saying, oh yes, it works. Trust that I was you. You would sat there at home that's sat in pain with your bottle of morphine at your side and your little bit of cannabis at the other side, and do you know what I mean? Or your wheelchair and your crutch. I was you. You know what I mean? A long time ago. And it's going to be a slow process, but it started by me getting out of a wheelchair, first of all, by stitching the shoes, which is a me thing maybe, but there is science behind why it works. But the main thing was I started walking up and down a pool. So join a pool and just put one foot in front of the other and keep walking up and down the pool. One foot in front of the other. That's all you've got to do. And that's a start. And once you can do that, then you can do anything. Anyway, I'm going to go because I'm battered and I'm babbling and I need some CBD gummies to level myself out. Right. Good night, guys. Take it easy and just remember that, you know what I mean? I was you. And if I can do it, anybody can. Anybody. You know what I mean? Yeah, anybody can do it.